What's up, everyone? And today I'm bringing a deck profile on my Sunavalon deck. Now, Sunavalon deck is one of the new decks out of Ghost from the Past, and it's a very interesting deck. The one cool thing is that it is a plant deck that focuses around a normal monster, which is pretty cool. So without further ado, before we get into this video, I'd just like to mention to subscribe to the channel, because every subscriber helps, and also helps with views and all that. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. First, I run 3 Sunseed Genius Loki. It's a level 1 plant normal monster. There's not really much to say because it doesn't have an effect. Next, I run 3 Sunseed Shadow. Shadow, if you control a plant normal monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard to target one Link 2 or lower Sunavalon or Sunvine monster you control. Special summon one monster with the same name from your extra deck, but negate its effects. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except plant monsters. So it's really good, again, an extra body on the field. Next, I run 2 Sunseed Twins. Sunseed Twin, if this card is normal special summon where you control a Sunavalon Link monster, you can target one level 4 lower plant normal monster in your graveyard to special summon it. You can banish this card from your graveyard and one Link monster you control if you have 2 or more plant Link monsters with the same name as each other in your grave. Special summon one of them. I don't really use that effect because it's literally just replacing one monster with another monster and it doesn't really get you much more. But the first effect is pretty good, so you definitely, if it's normal special summoned while you control a Sunavalon Link monster, you can bring another one of the Genius Loki back from the grave. I also run 2 Sunvine Maiden. Sunvine Maiden is sort of like a hand trap in this deck. When your opponent activates a card effect that targets a plant monster you control as special summon from the extra deck, quick effect, you can special summon this card from the hand, and if you do, negate that activation. It also has the additional effect to once per turn, your opponent cannot target Sunavalon or Sunvine spell trap cards you control with card effects. I also run 3 Lone Fire Blossom and the 3 Evil Thorn, which is pretty standard for any plant deck because they're just insane plant cards. I have a feeling when we get that new, I think it was either Link 3 or Link 4, but that new, it's not out yet, but there's a plant Link monster that's going to be coming out sometime. Don't know when, but as soon as it comes out, these cards are just going to be really abusable. Next, I run 3 Rescue Rabbit. Since you use a normal monster in this deck, this is really good at just getting things started. So it's kind of like a starter, essentially. I also run the 2 Parallel Exceed. I would run a 3rd copy, but I just didn't have enough room for it. But 2 copies definitely helps because this can special summon itself to a zone that Link monster points to, and this is a Link-based deck, so that's very easy. And lastly, I run 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Who runs 1 Ash? But I run 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring for a hand trap of choice. Moving on to the spells. I run 3 Sunvine Shrine. Sunvine Shrine, you can activate this card by sending 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. And while you control a Sunavalon Link monster, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, except plant monsters. Once per turn during your main phase, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower plant normal monster from your grave. So basically, if you normal the Genius Loki, link it away, then you can just special summon it back and then go into a Link 2. So it's really good for extending. And as an additional effect, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard. Once per turn during your opponent's end phase, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard to target 1 continuous trap in your graveyard, set it to your spell and trap zone, aka Sunavalon Bloom. I also run 3 Unexpected Die since you do run normal monsters, and this is just great normal monster support. I run 3 Pot of Avarice. Anytime I run Lone Fire Blossom and Evil Thorn, I always run Pot of Avarice, because you can basically get 5 monsters in the grave easy. Basically what I do is I go Lone Fire, into Lone Fire, into Lone Fire, into Evil Bloom, trip the Evil Bloom to special summon 2 Evil Thorns, then Link 2, then I have like 6 monsters in the grave. It's that easy. I also run 2 World Legacy Session and the 1 Monster Reborn to help extend, as well as the 1 Foolish Burial and a 1 1-for-1 because you do run like 6 level 1s, actually more than 6 level 1s. You run 11 level 1s in this deck, so this card's always going to be alive. Moving on to the traps. I run the 3 Sunavalon Bloom. I see most people running 2 of this, but I actually run 3. When this card is activated, if you control a Link 4 or higher plant monster when this effect resolves, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. And during damage calculation, if your plant Link monster battles, you can activate this effect. It gains attack equal to the combined attack of monsters it currently points to until the end of this turn. So this is kind of like Harpy's Featherstorm, although not quite as good, but it's still a really powerful effect, and you definitely want to always end your turn with one of them set. Moving on to the extra deck. First, I guess like the boss monster, Sunavalon Deck. This one's hard to pronounce, at least for me. It requires 2 link monsters, so it's also easy to help clear up any like Savia Nightmare Phoenix on board from the 2 parallel XC, for example. This can just help clear that up. If this card is link summoned, you can add a Sunavalon spell trap from your deck to your hand. So as long as you get to this, you can just go straight into your bloom. This card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects and cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly, which is really good considering it has 0 attack. Honestly, pretty much most of the all the Sunavalon cards have 0 attack. So, as an additional effect, on top of that, to tribute 1 link monster this card points to destroy any number of cards your opponent controls up to that link monster's link rating. Honestly, this is one that I would bump up to 2. I only have 1 copy, so I'd probably just say maybe take out the IP Masquerena for this one. I do have IP. Next, I run 2 Sunavalon Dryades. Dryades cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from tackling you directly, staying as the link 4. Although twice per turn, if you take battle or effect damage, you can gain that much life points instead. And if you do, special summon 1 Sunvine monster from your extra deck. That is really good. So if you cannot, preferably the end board, I'd rather end on 1 Dry Trinitary and 1 Dryades. Next, I run 3 Sunavalon Dryas. Originally, I only had like 2 of this card, but I decided to bump this one up to 3 because this is one that I go into most. If this card is link summoned in the extra monster zone using Genius Loki as material, you can add 1 Sunvine spell trap from your deck to your hand. This card cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking directly, same as the other Sunavalon cards. And once per turn, if you take battle or effect damage, you can gain that much life points. And if you do, special summon 1 Sunvine monster from your extra deck. So it's very easy to get out the Sunvine monsters in your extra deck. Next, I run the 2 Sunvine Healer. I also run the 2 Sunvine Gardener and the 1 Sunvine Thrasher. Now, these ones, their effects really aren't quite as important. You mainly want to get into them to go into like your Dryas and Trinity. That, and they can be special summoned off of the effect of the Sunavalon extra deck, the Sunavalon links. I also run 1 as Aromaspheric Jasmine. Jasmine is just good in any plant deck because you contribute a plant monster this card points to special summon a plant monster from your deck. So let's say you got, I don't know, Healer, it points to Healer. You contribute Healer to special summon the Lone Fire Blossom, then you just start going off of that. I also run the 1 IP Masquerena, although I would take this out for another copy of the Link 4. I do run 1 Axis Kotalker to help wrap things up, and 1 Dugaris. That's going to be all for this tech profile. Let me know, what do you think of the Sunavalon deck? Do you think it's a pretty cool deck? Do you think it has potential? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.